everyone, Trip here from Gorman Sales, and welcome to this episode of OG in 3. Hey everybody, Trip here with Gorman Sales. Welcome to another episode of OG in 3, when I like to go back and talk about older products that have been out for a while. Today I wanted to talk about CK's WF-5 cold wire feeder. What is the cold wire feeder? Instead of a welder having to feed the cut length like they normally would, instead what we're doing is we're actually feeding the wire up over the top of the torch, so it feels a little more like the MIG process, even though it's still definitely TIG. What would somebody use this for? I've seen a myriad of applications where people use it, but oftentimes it's when a welder is trying to eliminate starts and stops. Every time a welder has to reach back, grab another piece of cut length, stop, start, boom, that is a perfect place, or I should say a common place, for a weld defect. Starts and stops are always common places for weld defects. Another thing I've seen people use this for is when they're in a situation where they have to steady their hand. You know, when you're normally TIG welding, it's pretty hard. You got to keep this hand steady while you're feeding your cut length and working a pedal at the same time. This, you can now use your second hand as a steadying mechanism to feed and be able to weld more stably. Another thing that's pretty interesting about this too is that over time can actually lower your filler metal cost, because spooled MIG wire that you use in this machine generally costs a little bit less than straightened cut length. Now that especially can add up if you're welding materials like Inconel or stainless steels. Operationally, how does this thing work? Well, first off, you have a 10-turn potentiometer, so incredibly precise control over the wire feed speed, and that comes into play when you're in continuous mode. The other mode is pulse. So in continuous, you press the button, you feed wire, all depending upon the speed set on the pot. Neat little thing here, you can lock that off just in case to make sure it doesn't accidentally get bumped. Or if you want to make sure that the operator isn't changing something based on a procedure that you have set. The other way you can operate this is in pulse mode. Pulse mode tries to replicate the dipping action of a cut length. So in pulse, you have two options. You have drive and dwell. Drive is how much wire comes out, and dwell is the pause in between. So at 1 and 1, you can see how that looks. The other two features that are on here, delay and retract, those are most often used when we're integrating this with a robot or some other kind of automation. The delay is just what it sounds like. It's a delay once the button is actuated, a pause before the wire starts to feed, and then there's a retract feature, which once the button is unactuated or let go of, then the wire pulls back a little bit out of the puddle. Oftentimes with this machine, you're not really going to know if you can use it or if it's going to work for you until you have a demonstration. Your sales rep in your region is going to be happy to do that for you. In the Southeast, that could be me, or any other part of the country, you could contact CK Worldwide and they can direct you to the right place for the person that could come show this to see if it will work for you. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. Cheers.